Welcome to part 2 of the MYSWIM series of podcasts on Africa, and today we talk about Robben Island, the unique and iconic skyline that you'll be swimming next to, the challenges involved, and what it takes to undertake the iconic swim. This is part of a 4-part series with Howard James as we talk through Africa swims, and we cover Robben Island, False Bay, Lake Malawi and Open Water Africa as a whole. For all the links, please go to www.myswim.uk and you'll find all the links to this African series as well as artwork and links to all other MySwim podcasts. Welcome to the MySwim podcast. MySwim is every person's personal adventure in the water, whether it's learning to swim, wild swimming, channel swimming, winter swimming, another aquatic sport like water polo, synchronised swimming, triathlon or something social with friends, the best kind. And everything in between, your happy place, your aquatic adventure. And together we can explore it.
Welcome back, Howard.
Thank you.
So we went through in the previous podcast about Open Water Africa and the whole range of exciting swims that you're doing, and as intriguingly is the ones you're planning and how you go about that. So thank you for that. But one that I'd home in on for this podcast is one that I know you've done. Not part of the organisation, but knows one you've done, and that's Robben Island, with a lot of history. Robben Island, so it'll be interesting just to understand and a bit about that swim rather than all the organisation, a bit around it. Just sort of what's it take, the distances, things like that. And probably the first way to start is sort of the metrics of the swim and the distance, temperatures, that sort of stuff. What is the swim of Robben Island, and then your experience of it.
So there are many variations of a Robben Island swim, and they come with different metrics. So let's start the basic one. Well, the initial one is a Robben Island to Big Bay, which is 7.5k. I think it's 7.4k as the crow flies. And then there's around the island, which is just over 10. And then there must still be a route, which was a dogleg from just around the corner from Big Bay. So from 3 Anchor Bay, which is kind of more city Cape Town, across the ferry routes to the island, and then you would either go around the island or you would just dogleg and go to Big Bay. I think that might be a 23. I think the dogleg is still achievable. I don't know anyone recently that's achieved it because it crosses the shipping lanes. So I think it kind of, unless there's a real demand and the swimmer wants to do it, then they'll come up with a plan, but they're not necessarily going to be taking swimmers to cross the shipping lanes on a frequent basis like Robben Island. I mean, Robben Island at the moment sees maybe 20 to 30 swimmers a month.
Wow.
Yeah, it does reach a global audience. I think Robben Island was on my radar way before I came to South Africa. And the first time I came was 2011, I think was the first time I landed here. And the water temperature ranges anywhere between 10 and 15. And then on other days, it can be 17, 18, but that's quite rare. And the difference about that swim is it's unlike being back home in the UK, or let's go back to Dover. If the temperature is 8, you know it's going to be 8 for a couple of weeks. Then it's going to be 9 for a week. Then it's going to be 10. It works, builds up. That's what you're aiming for. You're aiming to build up to 15.5 or whatever it is. And you come September, it's going to go the other way. Robben Island, that body of water could be 12 today, 10 tomorrow, and 15 on Thursday. It really is luck of the draw on what's happening with the swells.
Right.
When there's a southeasterly, I mean, you think where Cape Town is at the right of the bottom of Africa, when those southeasterly winds have been churning in that Atlantic Ocean, it just brings in cold water from the bottom of the depths of the ocean, and then it just takes time to go. So that always baffles me. Everyone says, "Oh, you like cold, you like cold." I don't really like cold anymore.
Huh.
I'm not sure whether I ever really liked it. I mean, I remember the first one I done, I phoned up Derek Fraser from Big Bay and said, look, I'm here on holiday. I want to do it. I think I'd already paid the CLDSA or the governing body to ratify the swim, to register the swim. And he said, but the water's going to be 11. I was still dining out on the North Channel. And I was like, that's all right. I can do this. It's easy. But, I had no issue with doing it. And the North Channel in 2011 was still relatively new. If you think I was only the 30th person to do it in 2011, Steve Redmond was number 9 or 10, I think. Craig Lennon, and then me. After a massive hiatus, it was a swim that was like, do we dare touch?
Yeah.
Derek knew about it but didn't know anything about it. And I remember going on the boat from Big Bay to Robben Island, and he asked me, when are you going to feed? And I said, I'm not going to feed on this. It's a 2.5 hour swim. I'm not going to, because I was trained by Frida. You don't feed before 2 hours. And I could see in his face that it was like, wasn't quite happy with it. And because I noticed already his body language, that made me a little bit, maybe I'm being silly. So I said, okay, we'll do every 45 minutes or we stop halfway. And I'm glad I did, because when you have a warmer than lukewarm, so a hot drink, and you can feel it going into your stomach, I don't think there's a better feeling when you're cold, because that gives you the mental state that I'm warm again for 20 minutes. But apart from that, I don't remember much about that swim, apart from that it is a credible swim. Many big people, big names in the sport have achieved it way before I did. And now it's a bucket list swim, especially for the people that live in and around in South Africa. People fly from Joburg, Namibia, and lots of triathletes are doing it. And when swimmers come for a holiday or a training camp, it's incorporated into that swim. I just signed up this year. When was it? So in February this year, I signed up to follow a 3-month training plan, because I haven't been swimming that much. So I signed up for a May swim, and they produced, dare I say, a basic training plan, but a training plan to follow. So it keeps you don't really want to miss days of training. So it provides and helps you maintain a schedule to get to the pool. I kept saying to everyone that I swim with, they say, oh, you've done it, if you'll be fine. And I said, I don't want to get cold. And I said, the distance I can do, even if I can't do the distance, I can manage the distance. I can hang on the distance. But if I'm cold, I can't hang on the distance, because that's going to mess with my head. And this one in February was a lovely day. The sky was blue. As we set on the rib from Oceana, so the waterfront of Cape Town, to the island, you just look back at Table Mountain, and it's just like, wow. And I think it's such a leveler for me, even though I don't live actually in Cape Town. I feel so lucky that is on my back door. And if I carry on swimming, I can carry on seeing that Table Mountain from that vantage point at 4 or 5 Ks out, looking onto the city. And it's just magical. Whatever image you have of South Africa, once you see that, it just all goes away. And then I pull up just off the island, so you can look at Cape Town, and you can just see the kind of the circumference of the island, and jump off the rib and swim to like any other marathon swim, if you like. You jump off the boat and swim to shore through the kelp, which is a little bit daunting at first if you've never swam through kelp. But they say that nothing really lies in the kelp. I'm not sure that's true. But and on this occasion, I just kind of said to myself, this is ice cold. Before I jumped in. I was like, I tried to trick my brain and say I'm in Antarctica, because I didn't want to be cold. So when I jumped in, I was like, that's not too bad.
Oh, okay.
And that's how I took my mind and swam into shore. And swam. I think. Well, I'll send you a picture of the last one I done, and you'll see. I think the Table Mountains in the background. The guy I was swimming with on this particular occasion, Ryan Stramrood, managed to have his head in the water, so I could get my head up and say hello. A lot of swimmers who have done Robben Island and managed to get that image. I've got it somewhere. I think that even warrants coming out of the downstairs toilet. I always usually say swimming certificates belong in the downstairs toilet, but I think on this occasion that one could probably make it into the living room.
Who did you have crewing you on that one then? Or how many crew? Did you have anyone on the boat feeding you?
So they generally have up to 5 boats on the water. You kind of get paired up. If you decided you was going to come to Cape Town tomorrow, we're going to swim Robben Island. By default, we would pair ourselves up, and we would agree that this is our speed, and we're going to swim and have it's a jolly. Because the water can be cold, guys do try and set you up with someone that's around the same speed or strength. I don't know that word, speed, the same strength. If at some point throughout the swim, one becomes weaker or the other one becomes stronger, as a swimmer, we carry on and the boats kind of adjust. So there's normally a maximum of 2 swimmers per boat. So let's say 10 swimmers in any given crossing as a maximum. And then there's people on a team crew on the shore. So if anyone does get hypothermic, they get pulled in the boat and the boat can just go straight to that landing zone, and then they get taken inside and monitored for recovery. And what's also great about Robben Island is people are swimming it in wetsuits and people are swimming it in skins. I don't know. My view with open water swimming, if you want to swim it in a wetsuit, you swim it in a wetsuit. If you want to swim it in skins, you're not going to get any negative from me saying that, oh, you didn't really do it because you done it in a wetsuit. We all have a goal.
It's the joy of swimming and the joy of the water. I mean, the adventure's the same, isn't it? It's, different organisations will recognise different things, but the adventure is still the adventure, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. I always said, and once again, I'm not really anyone that I remember getting into so many discussions with wetsuit and skins. I said, I'll just go back and swim the English Channel in a wetsuit. It's a silly thing to say, but all I'm trying to do by saying that is it doesn't matter.
No, the adventure is where the gold lies, isn't it? You're going into a space that, let's be honest, as humans, we're not meant to be that far out into the water and going around with, we're out of our normal zone. So that's the adventure in itself. So if you've got a wetsuit on, or if you've got...
That's an interesting fact that you said. We're not, I don't know, are we supposed to be in the water? Especially here, when there's wildlife, okay, there's not so many sharks, but there is still shark activity. And let's not forget, there are more species of shark than the great white. I think in False Bay alone, I know there's 13 different kinds of shark and whale sharks and humpback whales that frequent the coast. That is someone else's. It is someone else's land. We're so lucky that we kind of want to experience that and can experience.
I think I first heard it when it might have been Catalina or Gibraltar Strait, one of the two anyway, where there was a potential risk of sharks or great whites. And I remember saying to the guy, I said, what's the one? He said, you just got to get used to it. What you're doing is stupid. You're going down the food chain. He said, just get used to it. And it's that sort of thing, isn't it? You all right. I know that sounds a bit blasé, but you can't be worrying about them sort of things. It's part of the enjoyment and the adventure, and these different things are. You're going into someone else's true habitat as we're there as visitors, aren't we? I mean, we don't live in those sort of depths of water every day of our life. We go there for an adventure and something a bit different. Whereas those guys, that's their walk, isn't it? Their location.
You've got to be aware, and then you've got to have trust.
Yeah, as you say, it's just knowing the waters and having people that you trust to look after your safety as well as your own responsibilities for safety from that side. That's good. Is there anything about the swim that you give people tips on that they get through, apart from get used to varying cold that's on it?
I would just say to be if you're coming from if you're international coming in for a holiday then, or a short stay, let's not call it a holiday. Try and connect with the organisers first, rather than just land and then try and organise it. Try and get some kind of plan to fit in, and be aware that it can be 12 degrees or it can be 15 degrees. So certainly don't come and expect it to be a warm swim, but it won't be a warm swim any time of the year. I guess the difference is you might get 25 to 30 plus when you're back, but saying that, you're going to be swimming early hours of the morning. So, from sunlight.
Yeah, when they do
sunlight,
they start early.
It start early. But you'll get warm. It'll be comfortable, but you'll still need, long trousers and a jumper and a beanie. They have started doing it at night now. They start doing it at about 3 o'clock in the morning. So you land at sunlight. So it's a covert escape.
Right. Oh, I see. Right. Okay. Gotcha. What times of year do they do that then? Is that all year round?
So they've just started introducing this covert last year, and that's generally in the warmer months. So our summer, December, January, February for the covert. But as for a Robben Island, it's pretty much year round. It might die off come July, August, because that's the height of the winter. I don't actually. I mean, there might have been a couple in June, but not that many. It would probably now be more so the guys training for an English channel or a channel swim, regardless of where it is, that might be just working on touching up their acclimatisation. They might be doing it now in the colder months, rather than the bucket list swimmers coming to do it in these winter months.
So I'll put the details of contacts and things on the bottom of the podcast. I'm going to go through for that, so anyone who wants to get involved with that side. But you'll have links on those from your website.
Yeah,
as well.
we do need to update Open Water Africa, but there should be, and there is links for Robben Island, yeah. But we probably should update it slightly so the Robben Island is a direct link to Big Bay. I mean, they're the guys that do for that body of water.
So what's your website? Just
Openwater.africa.
Easy. I'll pick those up. All right. Well, look, thanks for that. As I say, I know you're a swim that you enjoyed, and obviously with that location, it's one you couldn't have gone to South Africa, could you? Moved there and then gone, yeah, one day. It would have just been eating away.
But you know what? I thought the day I landed, I would be swimming more than ever. I really thought I'm just going to be knocking out swim. I would have done false play a long time ago. I would have been the 13th person, maybe, And once we got here, we were establishing a place to live, transitioning, if you like, into the country. And it just took a back seat, and then kind of just didn't really want to. It just. Yeah. I don't know whether I didn't want to or just I couldn't prioritise it. I don't know what. I just lost a little bit of interest. Things to focus on.
Yeah, I know. I think I can relate to what you're saying in that sometimes because you know what it's going to take to get the energy, the training, the commitment, and get that excitement and joy over those sort of distances and to do it. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you think, no, I'm not quite ready for that yet. But when you are, it's a lovely place to be.
Yeah,
when you do get back,
it is. But I think you're right that once you dive in, if you do dive in, then you're in it, and you've got the blinkers on, and you kind of become a little bit arrogant to everything else needs your attention. Although I wasn't swimming, let's not forget, still try and put these, well, I do, put the Alexa Trust relays together and try and aim to put like-minded people together to swim. So although I'm not swimming, I'm still got my ear to the ground and try and know what's happening around the world and try and motivate people to encourage to join the sport.
Yeah, no, you're very proactive that way, Howard. Okay, then. Well, look, I'd like to take a break on this one, and we'll come back to the next podcast on Hawke's Bay. If that worked well for you?
Yeah, can do.
Well, I really enjoyed talking to Howard about his experiences of Robben Island, and you could tell in his voice the excitement and the joy that he took from swimming in front of the iconic Table Mountain. You know, the challenges that take on them. Howard's a very experienced swimmer, and for him to give that swim the respect and excitement that he enjoyed from it, then I think that says a lot about the swim itself. So if you want to know more about it, there's links to the Open Water Africa website in the show notes. But if you want to know more about the whole African series of podcasts from MYSWIM, as well as any other MYSWIM podcasts and artwork, please go to www.myswim.uk. To capture the joy of each individual MYSWIM, we have an exclusive, bright, fun MYSWIM podcast themed artwork design. If you enjoy the podcast and the guests, we'd appreciate your support to keep these podcasts going, to help spread the knowledge to a wider community. And please check out the designs on www.myswim.uk. Let us know what you want to hear about, and together let's build the community. We really want to positively celebrate and promote all aspects of aquatics, and particularly the mental health benefits that swimming can bring, and we'd love you to be a part of it. Join the community, give us your feedback, follow, and tell us all about your individual MYSWIM.